So now we're going to talk about the English requirement. They call it CELPIP, or
yes.
they call it
ELPR, English Language Proficiency Requirement.
Yes.
So on your dashboard, when you log into your UBC dashboard, you'll see that as your second message on the bottom, and it'll say whether it's satisfied or not satisfied.
So if it's not satisfied, it's going to be in red color. That means you will have to submit your English requirement. The only exceptions that they have when you don't have to take the English test is when you have
a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say 99% of our people, most of the people
don't have a bachelor's degree. No. Yeah. And just to note, the bachelor's degree actually has to be from an approved school as well. So just because you have a bachelor's degree doesn't necessarily mean that it will exempt you from taking that CELPIP.
So if you have a bachelor's degree from Canada, then yes, you have 99% chance that they will approve you. And even though I said it's 99% chance, because even some of, like if it's Quebec or anything, good luck with that. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
If you got your bachelor from India, if you got it from Mexico, if you got it from any other countries, even from England, we had people that would have to take the English test. So it doesn't matter if English is your first language. It doesn't matter if you were born in here and you speak English perfectly, you will still going to end up taking that English test.
Yes.
So it is something that's done on a daily basis. There's a lot of locations. We have another video for you how to book your English test. It's pretty straightforward. You just go on their website and you just book the general CELPIP general test. There's just two different ones. General is the one that has 4 parts to the test. So it's going to cost you $280. That's how what it is at 2021 at this point.
Yep.
Just to be safe. So it costs money. Yes, it's almost $300 plus the taxes, right? And this is the test that you have to it has to be proven on your site. It has to be satisfied on your site, on your UBC site, before you can book your exam. We encourage you to do this right now.
Yes.
So the assignments, you start submitting them now, and the English requirement, you're gonna log in right now on their site, and you're gonna check the closest available dates. Sometimes you're gonna log in, and you're not gonna see much coming up for the next few weeks. My suggestions, log in every night and every morning, and a lot of times they will open up the dates for you. So don't call us and ask us when is the next one. We'll do the same thing as you would do. We'd go back on their website and we'll check for those dates, because that's the only way for you to book those tests. Some people choose the location for the test, and I would suggest just keep it open for everything. Keep it open for the whole BC, and you will see that in Vancouver there will be that many locations. Kelowna might have something, this and that. It all depends. It depends how many people are going for those tests.
Right.
Those tests is not just for the real estate. It will ask you later, what is this for? What's the purpose? You will choose the real estate option in there. But as I said, just if there's nothing open up for the next couple of weeks or even a month, just make sure that you log in, log out a couple of times and check every single day, and then something will pop up. Right? So let's talk about the test itself. So test is something that is not complicated. And English is not my first language. Hopefully you can hear that a bit. Even though I've been here for 20 years, it doesn't matter. But the point is, it's simple. Right? There's some parts that will be a bit more complicated. Even for English-speaking people, we hear this. And they're like, oh my gosh, what just happened there? Right? So you'll have the 4 parts. Part 1 is when you listen. Right? So listening is the part number 1. It usually takes an hour of your time just to go through the listening part. They start with the basic listening conversation stuff when there's 2 people talking to each other. Subjects could be very basic ones. You come to the library and you have you just moved to the area and they ask you for the library card, and they ask you, oh, but can I get 20 books? And like, no, because you don't have ID yet, you're gonna get only 2 books. So that's kind of a conversation between the 2 people, and they're gonna ask you 5-6 questions based on what you just heard. Easy, okay? I'm sure you can handle that. Then it gets a bit more complicated. That's when they start adding more people into a conversation. So they might ask you, they even show you the video. It's not you just listening. You watch the video of 3 people. One of the stories I'll tell you, it's at the gas station. An older guy talks to his 2 employees that on the phones, and they're texting to each other, right? And they're talking to her, making plans and everything else, and he's just kind of putting his concerns out and said, look, come on, instead of helping the customers, you're on your phones, and they're explaining him that's new generation stuff. And you kind of have to get an idea, what are they referring to? Like, what's the whole conversation is about, right? Then they'll ask you 3-4 questions on that, and then you move on. And then it gets more complicated. Then it gets about You have to listen to different articles that they're going to tell you, right? Sometimes it could be political stuff, sometimes it could be anything. So the easiest way to do this part, because they'll give you a piece of paper, what I usually do, or what I suggest our students to do, is like divide it. A man, there's always going to be a man and a woman that's talking to each other, right? So you can put like man, woman, or whatever that is, person 1, 2, 3, and then based on each conversation, you can kind of put a little bullet points in there for yourself, so you kind of use it as a reference to come back if they ask you questions that you might forget, right? So that's it. So that's listening is going to take you probably an hour of your time. And then after you finish listening, they're going to put you through reading part. Now, we find the reading part for a lot of people could be a bit more complicated part. This is where they're going to be asking you, not asking, they're going to show you different articles. And a lot of times those articles are not really life related, not something that we're going to be talking on a daily basis. It's not like, let's go get a coffee. They're going to give you an article about ginkgo biloba. They're going to ask you an article about the guns and political. So there's all the castles, right? And there's, I don't know, there's so many different stuff. So the point is with this one, there's not much you can prepare yourself for, but you have to be very time efficient. That's the only point for me for sure on the reading part. Because they will give you 5 different paragraphs, and you have to kind of look at the paragraph, find the questions similar to that paragraph, and kind of try to match them up. So my suggestions, read 1 paragraph at a time, go back on the question that they're asking you for, and after you finish reading the first paragraph, look at the questions. And if you see something that's matching, you just say, okay, that's paragraph A, that's the question that they're referring to, right? And then you go back on the next one, like it's going to be 5 of them. So, and then they're going to give you 1 more and 1 more. So it's going to be another at least 30, 40 minutes of that. And after you finish reading, that's the easy part starts. And I know a lot of people panic, especially when English is not a first language, but that's the writing part. Okay, English is not my first language. You take away my phone from me or the computer, I don't know how to spell check. I don't know how to spell anything, right? My spell check is my savior. It's true, right? Yeah. But that's the reality. But I always get, and all my students get, very high scores on the writing part because they give you spell check. Right. Okay. They give you this simple stuff to write about. You want to take a piano lessons, you know, like what kind of email would you send to that person, right? Asking for the times. I'm sure you can write an email, give you spell checks. It's on the computer, simple language, nothing is complicated. So keep it simple. They give you a lot of time in that. There's never time issue on the writing part. And after you finish the writing, this is where it gets the fun part. That's the speaking part. And this is where most of the Canadian people feel very uncomfortable for some reason. Canadian-born people, let me say that. I never have issue with that. I love speaking, right? So, but they give you a picture to describe, right? And on that picture, you'll have a lot of different people playing ball, somebody's doing, I don't know, rollerblading and some other things. There's always different subjects, and it's your job to describe the picture. And after you finish describing that picture, they will give you the same picture for the second time, and they will say, what do you think will happen after? Okay, so same picture, so you just described them that picture, and now they're asking you the same question, what do you think will happen now? And that's when people freeze. So just kind of come up with anything, any stories. They don't really care what you're describing in there. Nobody's going to judge you on if you mismatch the colors or whatever. It doesn't matter. All they care is about you talking. Okay, that's all they want. So if they give you a minute of talking, you talk for a minute.
And I had one student say that they were panicking because they thought they had to describe and touch on everything that was in the picture within the time limit. You don't. You just talk for the time limit as long as you're describing the picture. You don't have to describe every single aspect of the picture.
They just want to make sure you can speak English, right? Yeah. They're checking to see your levels of English, and that's all they're looking for. Yeah. Right? Your accent doesn't matter to them, your grammar doesn't matter, as long as you can comprehend.
If you can communicate.
In some way. So just kind of explanation stuff. And that's it. And then they ask you for some more things on, you know, your friend wants to buy a pet, and she lives in strata building, and what kind of suggestions would you give her? So they're not putting you on the spot right away. They give you at least 60 seconds to get ready. So they give you full minute of kind of come up with the bullet points, what you're going to be talking for that minute, right? And then you're going to be talking for a minute. So that's it. So this is your test. Now let's talk about what happens, what scores you need to get. Okay, so there's 4 parts, and you have to get the level 7. 7 on each. On each. So we'll say it again. So 7 has to be on each. So if I say the reading part has to be 7, right? The writing part has to be 7. If one of them is less than 7, right? The highest one is 12. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So 7 is one of the lowest levels. It's not often we have people, but sometimes people blew one of them or two of them. So what happens when you fail one of them or two of them? Then you have to
retake the test.
You have to retake the whole test. So
Yeah.
there's no options. Just rebook it as soon as possible. There's option to appeal, but there's only 2 subjects that you can appeal. So you can only appeal your writing and your speaking. So something that people judge, basically.
Yeah.
So only the writing, I'll say it again, only writing and only speaking. If you had a level less than 7, you can try to appeal. It costs $50. We have the link how to appeal. A lot of times it doesn't work. So we're telling you straight up, a lot of times they just say no to you. They take you $50 and they ask you to rebook the test again. I don't know if it's worth it, but you can try it if you want to. The good news is that you can rebook the test right away. So you don't have to wait. As soon as you get the results, you can just rebook it and that's it, right? So it's not like you have to wait for some time to rebook it, and it takes usually 5 business days to get the results, so it's pretty fast. Think of it as a test. It's not an exam.
No.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
Don't panic about anything in there. It's just, you go there, as I said, those 4 things will happen in there. You walk out of the room and you're done, pretty much.
And I think that the main point to make about the CELPIP is if you know what to expect, I think that you'll have less surprises while you're actually taking the test. So having Jana just described everything in detail for you will help you, because you already have some insight as to what you're going to experience when you go take the test. So we have some study links for you in this introduction course that you can go through and do practice tests. And one of the other suggestions that I usually have for students is on our Facebook training page, our private Facebook training page, post there for other students' suggestions, because there's so much out there to help you with the CELPIP. So a lot of students have found other things and other methods and other ways to prepare. If you have practiced a few of these tests, then the surprise sort of element is taken away, and then you won't be caught off guard while you're taking the exam.
But don't spend too much time on this too.
No.
That's one of the things. Some people say, should I put the GOBC course on hold and
No.
get ready for the... No.
You do it at the same time.
You can't really get ready for English tests. You speak the way you speak, right?
Yes.
You write the way you write. There's not much you can improve in a short amount of time, but just kind of to know what to
take
expect.
the surprise out of it.
Yeah, take the surprise out of it. That's
Yeah.
what we want. We give you the practice test and we give you some YouTube links just so you can see how it looks like.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Right? There's nothing else. Like take a day before the test or something to get over things so you know what to expect, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, you're good. So book it as soon as possible.
Yeah, right now.
Right now.
Right now.
And let's move on.
Yes.